Yo, what's good? Welcome back to another episode of the Henny Nights podcast. As always, I'm your host, your brother, Jay White, coming to you live from Kazi Society in the heart of downtown St. Louis. If you ever wanted to start your own podcast, Kazi Society is where you need to be. They have the full layout, all the equipment you need, the ring lights, the soundboard, the connections. They have everything you need in order for you to start your own podcast. They can help you with the format of your show, how many people you want to have, just everything that you would need. They can get that for you. In addition to it being a podcast studio, it's a full co-working space as well. So if you wanted to launch your product, or you wanted to have a networking event, or you needed a place to get away from your home office, or you may be back in the office and need a change of scenery, you can come down to Kazi and do that as well. So make sure you check them out on all social media platforms. That's KAZISOCIETY. That's Kazi Society. Always shout out to Jamie. It's owned by a black woman, so y'all really need to get involved. That's all I need to say about that. Next, Henny Nights merch. Make sure you click the Linktree link in the show notes. That's going to take you to the Henny Nights merch store. You get your tees there, your crew necks, your mask, your leggings, your spoons, your forks. I'm pretty sure at this point I got like damn near everything possible. But that's where you go to get your merch. Make sure you tap in with that as well. And as always, I appreciate your support. And of course, I love y'all. That's coming from y'all cousin. So I got a dope guest on the podcast with me, and she been outside talking for about like 45, 50 minutes with Jamie, but I did not realize you had so much to say, and I'm happy I finally got you on the podcast.
Great to be
So
here.
go ahead and introduce yourself.
Good evening. So my name is Jasmine Evans. I am a marketing consultant specializing in branding and strategy work.
Mm-hmm.
A lover of words and all things that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And leaning into more lifestyle projects. So looking into all
Big
things.
lifestyle vibes. Like I got my own island and I'm working on my own island vibes. Like she literally just got back in town. Like I looked up this week, she poolside. And I'm jealous.
We did. We decided to hop a flight to
Yeah,
Mexico.
but no, she's really dope, doing a lot of dope things. So I wanted to get her on the podcast because it's been a work in progress, but we finally here now.
It is. Thanks for
And yo,
having me.
she was talking about some shit when she was out there in the lobby. But first and foremost, who is Jasmine? Like, let's talk how you got there, because on Facebook, I saw you talking about your what you call it, your fire anniversary.
It is. This week is my fire anniversary.
Yeah. So, but you thriving.
I am.
You out here doing well for yourself.
Man, God's awesome.
So what was that journey? How did that happen? How did we get here?
Boom. We're going to make it a little fast.
Yeah.
So I went to SEMO. Shout out to everybody who went to a state school that's working real hard, came back home, and got into nonprofit marketing. So worked for a lot of dope nonprofits and organizations over the years, and really found myself butting heads a lot. Because if you can imagine, the folks that you support in nonprofits aren't reflected by the leadership that they are served by.
Okay.
And I found a lot of my career really bumping heads with older white men, especially about how we talked to and about and on behalf of poor, underprivileged Black people, from a term that I actually call poverty porn.
Okay.
And it became, a lot of those poor people, their poor situations. And I tell people, I just got a degree in talking good. I'm a second generation talking. I'm a second generation college hood from the north side. You know what I'm saying? And so I really leaned into that. And I found myself having a lot of issues and trouble because they're not poor, they don't have these sob stories, put some respect on it. They have names. And so that really led me to start consulting for myself and working with nonprofit organizations to tell the stories of the people that they serve from a place of empowerment and really helping them, helping those people champion and tell their own stories. Most people, especially, and to be honest, most people of color, we don't need anybody speaking for us. We are more than capable of telling it how it is. And so helping organizations really understand that and harness that, and really helping people and organizations talk about the work that's being done from a place of empowerment versus poverty.
Poverty. Yeah, poverty porn. I feel like I've heard that term, but it's accurate to what you're describing. So on your status, you were like, you just had finished a big project and you were like, enough was enough. So what was that tipping point like for you? So I did a little bit of research.
You did.
I was okay, yeah, but like I think it's really dope because I want people to come on here and tell their stories. It's super important.
Appreciate it.
It's super important to me. But like, yeah, you had that tipping point, where you were like, all right.
They tipped me. They tipped me.
Yeah. Right.
You know, so basically I was working for an organization and they decided we're going to change everything about ourselves. Our name, our colors, our logo, how we talk, how we sound. And a lot of times, you know, companies will bring in a firm to help them. And they didn't bring anybody to help me. So you talking about the signs on the wall, the website, you know, everything became my responsibility to update, design, and change. And I did that. And after you do something like that, you know, I done did the signs on the wall, the website, the business cards. I ain't gonna have to worry about a job for at least another couple of years. You know what I'm saying? And I was fired, you know, 6 months into it, or not 6 weeks actually, after that launch. And my boss at the time was a Black woman and she was visibly upset. And she was like, you know, Jasmine, it's not my call. She's like, but I think you're bigger than this. And my mom is a consultant. She's a chemist.
Okay.
And so she was like, I think, you know, for all the work you just did, you could probably do it on your own. And that's pretty much how it happened. You know, working in nonprofits for 10 years at that point. I just met people who sort of knew what I did and luckily was able to just transition, which is why I tell people, like, you know, whatever you've been doing, keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Just find a way to package it so other people can use it. So my fireversary was 3 years ago. And I've been on my own full-time consulting now for 3 years. And I grew up, my mama was a first-generation college student. So you went to school, we're going to use this degree. And I didn't believe in jobs that didn't have insurance. I just didn't believe in it.
That safety net,
Where it's at. And I haven't had that, you know, so it's been a real journey. Like I said, I believe in God, and God was just like, this story gonna do what it's gonna do. And so it's been really amazing. Like in 3 years to just sort of like see where things have went and so fast.
So what are some of the highlights in the last 3 years for you? Because I know it's been full speed ahead,
man.
But I know you have some things like, damn, I really did that.
I really did that. First of all, being able to pay my bills, keep my lights on, drive my car.
That part. That part.
Like, that's probably been the biggest thing. Like, I am actually paying my bills without a regular 9 to 5. But the biggest thing, there was an organization here. They're now called MoCan, and I always shout out the nonprofits I work for that have been good to me. And they said, you know, Jasmine, we want you to be the face of this project. And they paid me a lot of money to lead, direct, and create this docuseries that told their stories. Okay. And it was an organization that's ran by probably one of the wokest white women I've ever met in my life. And she said, you know, Jasmine, I'm gonna let you have it. And that project paid my bills for a whole year. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Lessons.
But it was all the things that I did. So it was marketing, it was communications, it was hosting, it was public speaking, it was interviewing. That project opened a lot of doors. And I'm not gonna lie, being able to just get up and go.
Yeah, we know. We've been peeping. I've been peeping. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of, you know, taking my laptop, strapping on my back, and hitting whatever country got the cheapest flights at the time.
Yeah. She said that on the elevator ride up here. She said, I'm going somewhere every quarter. And I'm like, well, shit.
But you can do it.
Where you going next? Yeah, no, you definitely can. Especially in the climate we're in now. For those of us that, you know, I work from home 4 days out of the week. So outside of, if I wanted to hop on a flight Wednesday night and go work remotely from somewhere, I could. And I think companies are realizing that, like, ooh, and like the old formula is not really what it cracked up to be, and it doesn't work anymore. So, like, it's dope that you can be beachside.
Listen,
you know,
why does it
changing the climate?
Are cheaper Monday through Friday. So if you could hop a flight on Monday, you could get there about $125, $200 cheaper.
Yeah, and it's dope to see. I was like, look at her out here living good. Yeah, and I'm sure it's good for the spirit and the soul too to go see different countries. Like you said to me on the way up here, it's a whole world out there that we have not seen. So,
truly,
yeah.
I respect people who got like a list of countries to hit, baby, wherever the flights is cheapest. Whenever I got some time off, God, I got a whole world left.
Absolutely. So, for those who may be considering taking that leap of faith and doubling down and betting on themselves, what are some things that, from your perspective, that you feel like you absolutely should know and be prepared for? Because I think a lot of times people look at working for themselves, not realizing that, like, yeah, you set your own schedule, but oftentimes those are odd hours. Like you have to, it's not just a 9 to 5, like I'm done at 5. Like, no, it might be more like 9 to 9, 9 to 10, 9 to 11,
6 days a week instead of 5.
Yeah. So when I have a lot of entrepreneurs on, I like to ask them, like, yeah, what were some things that you feel like you can pass on to the next person who may be tired of working corporate, or, may have an idea that they think can really take off, that can be a service to somebody, or, produce a lane for somebody? What are some things you would tell them?
I would tell them, for one, don't quit your job. I think that's a big one. Like, a lot of people push entrepreneurship, and it's like, actually, no. I live off Flintstone vitamins, birth control, and looking both ways across the street. It ain't no health insurance out here, that's cheap. It's, really don't quit your job. And if you're serious about what you're doing, you'll find the time and the energy to, dedicate to it. So I launched, I LLC'd in 2014. That was 4 or 5 years before, I went on my own full time. So take the time to really invest in your business first, make it work for you. And don't be afraid of just starting and just getting in where you fit in. One thing I see a lot in St. Louis across a lot of industries is, this feeling of I'm too good or I'm too better than. And when you jump into entrepreneurship, you might as well have just jumped off the stage with your degree again. Like, you know what I'm saying? You really are back at the bottom and working your way up. So don't be afraid to do the hard work, and ain't nothing above you until you have to pay your bills. Like, people don't believe, and I think it's crazy. The first 6 to 8 months that I was on my own, I worked for funeral homes, and I did a lot of obituaries because I have background in magazine layouts, program planning, and working with photos and memories, right, and storytelling. So my grandmama is deep in North City, ain't gonna never leave. Every time one of her church members lost their son or their grandsons, she was setting it up, and I literally paid my bills the first 6 to 8 months to a year off of obituaries and helping people do funeral planning. So don't be afraid to repurpose your skills. Like, I never would have thought that my layout degrees and all of those things would result in obituaries. Right. But they pay my bills, and it gives you a respect for where you are. I think being grounded when you first start off is a big one. Yeah,
that's definitely a big one. Yeah, like you said, repurpose those skills, because you don't know what can lead you to the next step, and that's going to lead you to the next step, and that's going to lead you to the next thing. And I'm definitely finding out just in my professional career that stuff that I'm like, man, I'm never going to really use this ever again. But because I spent that time learning that or whatnot, in the next role that I had, I'm like, oh, this is kind of similar to that. So so never poo-poo what you're going through or whatever your circumstances are, because like you said, it could elevate you in your next phase. So
keep your stuff and keep your notes.
Yeah. Keep a lot of notes. I'll write every fucking thing down.
Keep your notes. Like, I have people like, Jasmine, why, baby, I have everything. Because you never know, you'll be able to apply something from somewhere else that you already did.
Yeah, like, exactly.
That's been a big one.
Exactly. So we gonna get off of professional stuff now, because when I say Shorty was in the waiting room lobby, and I was just looking at her like, what? Let me tell you. Jasmine got a story, man. Jasmine has been through some things. Are you comfortable talking about what you want to dive into as far as like your next endeavor?
We can do whatever.
All right. So your story has led you to wanting to step into a new, what you want to call it?
It's like a new space, realm.
New realm genre. You want to do.
I want to get into comedy.
You want to get into comedy.
Yes.
Yes. Life-wise. Because like when people do comedy, from what I learned, because my homeboy is a comedian as well as stuff like that, they pull from life experiences and whatnot. So you have
the craziest
a wealth a plethora
Absolutely.
of life experiences. Has this always been a thing for you that you were like, I want to step into that at some point?
So, to be honest, my grandmother is the craziest little old lady you will ever meet in your life. And I'm not going to make it a long story about her, but like she taught us how to curse.
Okay.
She taught all of my cousins literally how to curse. She would make us sit in a circle and she would make us cuss each other out. And she would put money in the middle of the circle. So whoever cursed each other out the best got the money in the middle of the circle.
So you had to be savage.
Listen, we had rules, we had conditions. And so I love words. I've always loved words. Majoring in communications. Growing up, I wanted to be Gina from Martin. I thought she was the dopest woman on TV.
Okay.
And she was in advertising. Someone was like, I'm going to be in advertising. And my mama was not playing. She was like, what are you going to school for? These are the classes we taking, and this is what we doing.
Right.
And so I fell in love with words. And
Same here.
Listen, words is the truly.
Yeah.
But my mama and my biological father, who I affectionately call my mama's baby daddy, my father has the best and worst mouth I've ever heard. So between him and my grandmother, and a nice degree in talking well, I've developed a fondness for words and storytelling that I'm always the friend getting hung up on. I'm always the friend, so I'm looking to lean into some new things.
Let me tell y'all something. She was painting a motherfucking picture out here talking about, dating and family stuff. I don't know if you're comfortable sharing that.
It's an open book. Open book.
So you want to tell that story?
Which one?
The sister cousin story?
Yes.
If you're comfortable.
Yeah, so those of us, old folks call them, your family tree. Us educated folk call them genograms. Mine is crazy. I tell people, you never know people's stories. So I am the oldest of 20-something children. We really don't know. I'm the oldest of Project Triplets. So I have 2 sisters. We are all
Project
2 weeks apart. My father has his oldest 5 children tattooed on his chest around a marijuana leaf, if that paints the picture for you. My parents met at Skate King, so we just...
Oh. I didn't hear that part out there. Say less. I already know what the fuck going on. They met at Skate King. Skating, they both skaters?
They did. My parents are both skaters.
Which is becoming more popular. It's coming popularized again.
It's not hereditary though.
I can't skate for shit.
I need a skating class.
Yeah,
so
I can't skate to save my life.
And my grandmother, like I mentioned, she's a firecracker. She taught us everything. And I tell people, my grandma, you ain't never met nobody. My grandma ain't never had one boyfriend. She ain't never had one man. My grandma got mad at her first husband and had another baby, and my aunties and my mama's sisters and cousins. Like, you ain't never met a woman like my grandma before. She drank R&R straight out the bottle. You ain't never.
That's a different type of woman. That's a different type of woman right there.
It is.
But yeah, so did you know at an early age, like, because you developed the fondness for words, and you looked around at your family and was like, what the fuck? Or whatever. Did you know at some point, like, yo, I want to like talk about that or bring that to the forefront?
Hell no.
Really?
Hell no. I tell people I'm the child that had too many Easter speeches. So my mama's, contrast to all the ghetto shit was, we gonna put her in church. And church people work you to death. Yeah. So I was an usher. I did this. I did everything. And that's where I really learned to refine my speaking skills.
Right.
And so I remember telling my parents, I'm too grown for Easter speeches. And my parents was like, that's fine. And then before I knew it, I was emceeing the Easter programs because they told me I was too grown to do the Easter speeches.
Okay. Now I see where the hosting stuff comes in.
It is. Yeah. Because everything I've learned in Black church. Black church teach you everything.
Facts. You there for 22 hours, so you should
6 days a week.
Yeah.
Baby, I can serve. I can tell you no real polite without making a move. I can get this water. I can do it all. And so it wasn't until really all of my professional life has been very straightforward. Like,
right.
Very much by the book, very much whitewashed, very much all of the things that you would expect in a traditional 9-to-5er. It wasn't until I lost my job that I was like, I actually don't have to do this. Like, give me a blue streak in my hair, pass me the dark liquor, like all of the things that we do outside of work, I can do now all the time. And so I really realized after years of my friends, like, I'm hanging up on you, or get in a corner, or, just having this twisted, dark humor, that I was like, I'm really good at professional speaking.
Right.
I'd rather spend some time leaning into all those speaking skills, but having some real honest conversations. Like, I tell people, baby, I'm a second generation college student with a degree in talking good. This gold plated bougie. You can't swim in it. You can't wear it in the sun too long.
Yeah. I see it jumping out of you now. She talking. I can see it. just the flow to it. And the confidence and the rhythm to them, like, yeah, she finna talk that shit.
And listen, we can do professional, we can do whatever you want to do, and I think that's honestly that's what's missing. Like, a lot of us are really taught to lean into our professional selves so much.
Code switch.
You know what I'm saying? And it gets to a point to where, like, I teach middle school kids at an all Black Catholic high school off of Shreve and Carter, and we have conversations about. You remember in St. Louis a couple of years ago, Black women weren't getting hired because they had ghetto names. Yeah. So teaching kids, like, how to own everything that happened to them in a way that doesn't make them sob stories for somebody else. Yeah. And so I think in doing that, it made me be a lot more vulnerable and transparent about the things that I would usually be ashamed of. Like, having these ghetto, my mama got a Q and 2 T's on her name. Like, her ghetto baby daddy getting expelled from school. Like, a lot of these things that I would be ashamed of. Right. Just became regular life. So let me apply those finesse for eloquence of words to my regular everyday life. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. With you wanting to do comedy,
yes,
are you going to just do stand-up or are you going to do skits as well?
You know what? I think I'm going to try a little bit of everything.
Okay.
We know TikToks? What we like and what I am not the TikTok girl, but if somebody want to teach me how to do TikToks, then I'll get on the TikTok.
I would say I could teach you, but I really can't. I just be finding sounds that I think are funny and just like doing voiceovers.
We'll go with it. Yeah, so now I'm a challenge.
But you do want to do skits.
I do.
You gonna write them?
I do. I love to write.
Okay.
I do love to write.
You already written some?
I have. I don't know if they're definitely real life skits for my crazy ass family, but true skits. But yeah.
All right, can you give us a wild ass story from your family?
Oh my God.
Outside of the sister cousins.
A wild story from my family. Okay, so boom. We have the third of the Project Triplets. She popped up about maybe 10, 15 years ago. But when you have 20-something siblings, they pop up every couple of years, right? It's like a mole, like, oh, damn. Like, oh, it's another one. And so her and my mama's baby daddy got into a fight in the club, and she bust this man over the head with a bottle of 1738. And it was the ghettoest shit I had ever heard in all my days. Like, that's been my father my whole life. How you just meet this man?
What they fight over?
It was none of my business. That's what I mind my business. Like, people like, oh my God. Like,
so you don't get in the middle of it.
Oh no, I don't want the details because you can't stay with me. I can't watch your kids and I can't loan you no money. So I actually don't want to know no details.
Okay. Is that why you begin hung up on?
Probably. Actually, it's my mouth. My friend's like, you're just terrible. You say what's on your mind. But I think...
Facts, because the way you was talking out in the fucking lobby...
It is.
I was like, oh, shit.
But now that I'm a consultant and I make money to give just unfiltered opinions,
it's a
wrap.
Yeah.
It's a wrap after that.
It's not second. So you be reading these companies?
I'm honest. I'm very honest. Especially in realizing, when you work in the industry that you work in and you look at yourself, I'm a double minority, right? So they're looking at me for insights on Black people, on young people, on young Black women. And I'm doing you a disservice by not being honest with you about who you are, what your position is, and how you are coming off. And I think that's how a lot of companies are finding themselves in trouble. Not even just Black companies. Like Kate Spade just did an ad and they said, come hang with Kate Spade. And Kate Spade hung herself before she sold her company. So that probably wasn't.
Muzz was at the table and didn't trip off that.
And so I think there's a place at the table for people who think past, just the general idea. So I think for me, that's sort of the lane that I want to stay in. It's just being unfiltered and just unapologetically honest. Because of women, you don't get that opportunity, right? Like, you don't. You have to sort of sell yourself, be demure if you want to get married, if you want to date or if you want a job, you have to make a lot of people comfortable. And the mission of my agency and of the company is that I want myself and my clients to unapologetically take up space. Like, I can take up space and whatever and everything that's happened to me. And I want that for my 8th graders. I want that for the women that I consult, the companies I consult. Because if you got the receipts, then you can take up space. Like if I've done it and I've done the work, I don't give a damn if it make you uncomfortable. This is my lane. And I want that for everybody. The good things that have happened to you, the bad things that have happened to you. And most importantly, the shit that you've earned that's happened to you.
Yeah. So you brought up dating.
Oh, child.
And you had some very spicy takes.
I do.
Out in the lobby about dating. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on the dating, as some women like to put it, cesspool?
We talking local, or we talking in general?
I mean, you could do both. I think it could apply to both. Whatever it is you're about to say, which I'm a little nervous about.
Don't be nervous. I will preface and lay the foundation with I am a happily divorced woman.
Okay.
My ex-husband is a wonderful man, just wasn't a wonderful man for me. And so for me, when it comes to dating, nothing is that deep until it's that deep. Like, until you done sat down with Quita and told her that you're going to take care of her baby, it's not that deep, right?
Quita gonna size him up?
She will, and piece him up too. Don't be fooled.
Gotcha.
But for me, I tell people I'm unclaimed until I'm untamed. So if you want me, you better come.
Bars! I fucking wish I had a button for the bars right now. I'd be tapping it right now. Wait a minute, hold on. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Round of applause for that bar. That bar was tough. Yeah. Okay.
So I think culturally, right? A lot of us go on a date with a person 1 or 2 times. I like him. We probably gonna mess around. It was decent enough for me to keep around. Now you my man. Whereas I don't agree with that. Like I think, that trial period, I tell people don't fall in love with me in 90 days. Because ain't no company gonna give you full benefits in 90 days and I ain't either. So you could kill the interview. Your resume could be great, but you can get into this job behind this desk and show your ass.
So you out here devastating these young men.
Not at all.
Destroying these young men. You told that man 3 months, you still ain't getting no benefits.
Listen, because I'm not going to completely give you myself. We can kick it. It can get physical, but I'm not going to completely unveil, all the benefits, baby. I've been a wife. Yeah. So whoever I marry, if that man throw papers or wrap burgers, he's going to be the Barack Obama of paper throwing and burger wrapping, right? So I know what I'm bringing, right? So I may not give you all of that in the first 90 days. You're going to have to earn that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like when you hit a certain, like you hit the plateau, like you said, you've been married. I do feel like there are certain things when you go through them in relationships that when you have, for whatever reason, have to jump back out there in the field, you be like, yeah, bro, like the rules done changed a little bit.
Absolutely. And the price goes up.
Yeah.
I mean, like Fat Joe said, yesterday's price ain't today's price.
Ain't today's price.
It ain't today's price. And how I moved yesterday ain't gonna be the same way that I moved today. And you shouldn't either.
No, facts.
You shouldn't either.
Facts.
So
and people change.
They do. And they decide they want different things. I think in St. Louis we lose that, right? Because a lot of us are going to school with people or around people that we, have been around for 5, 10, 15 years, right? It's a smaller city. And that's not no diss on the city. I love it truly. But I think it allows us to be complacent and comfortable in how we move and how we date and how we relate. There's not a lot of people challenging how we date and how we move.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't like challenges, unfortunately. And I think the pandemic definitely didn't make that any better because,
Depends on who you ask.
Elaborate.
Everybody got a role to play. And I think the pandemic was really that. Everybody got a role to play. And I tell people, when I'm single, like truly, I date for the best qualities of you. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where a lot of us get hung up. Like, if you're not the best communicator, then baby, I'm actually just not gonna communicate with you, and that's okay. We can go on these dates.
I respect that.
We can take these pictures. You know what I'm saying? If you're not the best date planner, I'm not gonna look to you to plan dates. I'll plan the date, but it's gonna be, a somebody over here, and it's not just for women; it's men too, right? It's plenty of women who are in different phases that are willing to be what somebody on every level needs. And I think that's where we get hung up and that's where we mess up. Like, it's not that deep. Like, if you want me, you can have me. But that's my nigga. We just fucking around. You my sneaky link ain't on none of the tax forms or documents that I got to fill out. You know, at no other time. So you can just be my nigga and that's cool. But it ain't that deep until it's that deep.
Yeah. I can see how
this finger wave.
my face. I wish it was we was actually recording this now, but I see exactly where dudes get devastated. Because you don't waver.
No.
And so like if you're used to like somebody acquiescing to like the way you do things or whatever, and you don't budge.
I don't think it's not budging.
It's an ego thing too.
I think
like it bruises some guys' egos because if they're used to you.
I won't even say I'm a woman, so it probably does happen to men more often.
Yeah.
But I think if more people were unapologetically honest about where they were, what they wanted, what they were willing to do. Like for me, my dating philosophy is this, right? So if me and you just dating, there's a franchise player on every single team. That does not mean that there are not other people running plays, getting checks, and getting endorsements, right?
Right.
And from what I understand of sports, the people that you bring in support the franchise. So just like I said, date for the best qualities. Now the people that you bring in to support the franchise fill in their gaps. I don't mind you bringing in some people, you know what I'm saying, a woman or whoever to support the areas where I'm weak. Just be honest with me about that. And as long as you understand and you treat me like the LeBron of this situation, we all right. We all right.
It's the way with words. It's the way with words for your boy. But it makes complete sense. And like you said, at just the bare minimum, the ground level, just be honest.
That's it. And I think a lot of people don't think that.
No, they want to get over.
I don't even think that. I think more people, it's more so I want to tell you what you want to hear because that's been my experience of getting what I want.
Yeah.
Like I'm used to placating to your feelings. Like that's been a big thing I've noticed in dating. Like I don't have traditional female attitudes about dating.
As you put it out there.
And I don't.
As you put it out in the lobby. Nigga tendencies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can play whatever game you want to play as long as it's on two players.
I love the wordplay.
Like,
I love the wordplay. We can go to
heaven or we can go to hell.
I love the wordplay. Yeah, talk that shit.
I mean, it's true though. And I think, a lot of women, but it also comes with, I think, the confidence of being married and divorced.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of women, the prize is getting married. It is having a family. And part of that for me has been understanding that actually I done been there and it's actually just, I done been to Six Flags. It's just the ninja. The commercial's cool.
It gave you a headache
They gave me a headache. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but I think it makes it a lot easier when it's like, all right, this is what it is. And I wish more people would be honest about that in dating. But I think a lot of people don't have the confidence in themselves.
Absolutely not. This is scary. It's unfamiliar. Because like you said, they're used to getting their way by playing it up as one way when it's really this way or whatnot. And like I said, honesty scares people. And people don't have the skills to effectively communicate whatever the point may be to another person, and also the fear of how the other person is going to receive it.
I will throw a wrench in the plans that I've just learned about myself recently is that a lot of it is also, this is how I was raised and this is what I think I'm supposed to want, right?
Yeah.
Like my parents were a nice ghetto Tyler Perry plot, right? And so my mom was like, she wanted me to have a dad. She wanted a traditional nuclear structure. And the traditional nuclear structure doesn't support a lot of our lifestyles, right? Like when you look at the traditional nuclear structure of a family, women couldn't vote. They couldn't own property. They couldn't do shit without a husband.
Yeah.
So you had to have one.
Right.
So I was raised that you had to have a man in the house. Whereas now it's kind of like, actually, I want a man in the house.
But if you don't.
But if you don't,
you get
right?
it. Yeah.
And the cookie, again, this is not a man bash, but the cookie doesn't break even for women a lot of times. Mm-hmm. You nurturing, you child rearing, you doing all these things. A lot of times, no offense, we making more money than these men. So we doing a lot more of like swallowing our pride and making you feel comfortable and walking on eggshells. I ain't got to do all of that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna respect your ego, and make you feel like a man because you're the man in my presence. Mm-hmm. But we only gonna do that shit for so long, and as long as you're in my presence, I'm not doing this shit all day.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's the difference. So it makes it, you're gonna have to come with a lot more than good dick and a few dollars over here.
Hey.
I'll spend that too, and I'll take that as well.
Inflation. No, I'm just playing. No, I respect it. I like to hear that point of view. It makes me, for the few of us that do feel like, and I feel like that's everybody in this room, that's like communication is top tier.
Absolutely.
It makes all the sense in the world.
Absolutely.
It makes all the sense in the world. So, well, I'm glad I got that out the way. I didn't know where that was gonna go because you was talking about y'all when you and Jamie were out there in the lobby and y'all were telling y'all stories. I was just like, let me get the fuck.
But one thing about Jamie, like people say, like, because my background is in PR and backgrounds and image consulting and those things, like Jamie is my PR person.
Yeah,
like it ain't too many people I'm calling when I have a situation. I'm calling Jamie. Mm-hmm. And so when I see Jamie, it's such a love.
Yeah. I saw you was like,
Jamie.
Yeah.
Because even with this comedy project, when I said I really want to do something different with my brand, I called Jamie and I called Stacey Pugh. Those were the two people.
Shout out to Stacey.
Shout out to Stacey Pugh. Because I trust Jamie with my brand, the professional side of my brand. And as far as Stacey knows me and she knows how I feel about my brand and my clients. And it knows the crazy side of me as well.
Yeah.
So,
and you're taking it serious too, because you were talking about you had hired somebody as well.
I have a comedy coach.
Yeah, you're not half stepping.
You know what? I think a lot of times, and the higher you get up, like now as a consultant, there's no company around me, right? So there's no boss. So there is minimal checks and balances. And I think that's where a lot of us, the more we elevate in our careers, where we fuck ourselves over because there's no checks and balances. So because there's nobody telling you where you can do better, we think we the shit. Mm-hmm. And for me, comedy is a new endeavor, right? I'm funny to my friends. I'm funny to my family. I'm funny to, whoever. But there's people who've been doing this and put some respect on what the fuck they've been doing.
Yeah.
So I do. Shout out to Brandon Taylor on Twitter and on Instagram and on all the things. He's my comedy coach, and he's really been like, how do you refine your storytelling into a comedic place for more people that's funnier than just your mama, your homegirls, and your ghetto ass friends.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I like it. I love this. So whenever you decide to step up on stage, I'm in there.
You in there?
I'm in there. I'm in there. I need to know when you go ahead and make that debut or whatever. Or if you need a stand-in for a skit, I'll be there.
Good to know.
Yeah, I'll be there.
That. What I am really wanting to do is like sort of turn the face on. Like I tell people, I'm your weather girl, right? I'm your PR girl. I'm known for being these things, very cookie cutter, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate like professional ratchet. Like people are like, oh my God, you do this? Yes. Actually, when I teach your kids and when I do these things, I'm actually inebriated and this is how it goes.
Yeah.
Right. So really being able to showcase that other side of my personality that's a lot more fun than traditional social media stuff.
Yeah. And I'm glad I got to hear about that. So, because I did tell you, what we going to talk about? We was at brunch.
Inebriated again.
Yeah. Lit time.
Shout out to Kyra and congratulations.
Yeah, lit time. And he was like, so what we gonna talk about? And I'm like, I don't really have no format for the show. It's whatever you want to talk about. We can go wherever you want to go. So it just reiterated to me when y'all was sitting down out there talking. I was like, oh yeah, she got another side that she don't get to bring out too often. So, and especially with you getting in this new endeavor, I'm like, yeah, we gonna touch on that. We gonna touch on that. So, want people to see that we're not just one broad stroke, man. That's the whole concept of the podcast. It's just multifaceted, and I would have never guessed that you had this background because you do.
It is. is.
It is very professional.
The brand is very corporate.
Very professional. So, like, it's dope to see. And I'm glad I've been able to get you on the show.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So you can share that. And I do want you, before we get out of here, to share as far as your company and your social media, and tell them where they could reach you at. So
absolutely. So everything is my full name. That is Jasmine, Jasmine D Evans, on all platforms. So I do a lot of public speaking as far as social media and work with young people. We didn't touch on it today. I got expelled in high school, so I'm really big on young people using social media to further their goals, especially 8th grade high school transition years, and doing a lot of corporate strategy work and brand work. So everything is JasmineDEvans.com and on all the socials.
Yep. And then as always, her info will be in the show notes. So tap in with her, check her out. She's doing a lot of dope stuff, and it all makes sense now. It all makes sense now, especially with the wordplay and the hosting and everything. So I'm glad I got you down here today finally.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, it was a good ass time. Even the 45 minutes we was out there and I was just listening to y'all talk, it was so enjoyable. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure y'all check her out. And until next time, we'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
All right.